Welcome to a place where every family secret, betrayal, and shocking revelation comes to life. Here, the walls of the home aren't always safe, and the people we trust most sometimes hide the darkest truths. Every story dives deep into the struggles of marriage built on secrets, children caught in the crossfire of pain, and moments where love feels like a carefully crafted illusion. You'll witness how humiliation, heartbreak, and betrayal spark a quiet determination that grows into unstoppable strength and reckoning. These aren't just stories, they're journeys through raw emotions, hidden agendas, and family drama that will grip your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat. From whispered lies to explosive confrontations, each twist of fate exposes truths that no one saw coming. Stick around for real, unfiltered family stories that reveal both pain and empowerment. The walls that were supposed to hold safety and warmth suddenly felt suffocating, as if every corner of the house had absorbed years of quiet resentment. Words screamed across the room, sharp and unforgiving, cutting through what was thought to be unshakable. The phrase hung in the air, heavy and relentless, leaving a sting deeper than betrayal itself. It wasn't just anger, it was contempt, an open declaration that everything held dear was now worthless. Every familiar object seemed to mock the brokenness, the echoes of pride and disappointment ricocheting through the halls. Trust, carefully nurtured over the years, unraveled in a heartbeat. Small cracks that had long been ignored became chasms wide enough to fall through. The husband, once a quiet presence, revealed layers of deceit that had been quietly eroding the life built under the guise of love and protection. Each revelation felt like a punch, exposing a network of hidden choices, secret deals, and unspoken betrayals that had been silently shaping every interaction. Even the most ordinary days, once filled with laughter and shared moments, now appeared tainted with manipulation and indifference. A child's laughter, meant to bring joy, became a flashpoint for criticism and blame. The innocence that should have been cherished was treated as a burden, a reminder of responsibilities refused and promises broken. The home, which was supposed to be a sanctuary, now felt like a cage where fear, shame, and helplessness mingled in the corners. Every hallway seemed to whisper accusations, every glance from the father carrying a judgment too heavy to bear. Yet, in the midst of the storm, something unspoken began to grow. Pain, humiliation, and the relentless sting of betrayal began to fuel a quiet resilience. It was not vengeance born of anger alone, but a meticulous, simmering awareness that nothing would ever remain the same. Each insult and cruel word was cataloged, each secret revealed a stepping stone to a reckoning that would be inevitable. The house that once echoed comfort now bore witness to a quiet storm gathering strength, a power that could not be dismissed, only confronted. And when the moment came, it would be undeniable. Every quiet evening had begun to feel heavy, the kind of weight that presses down on the chest without making a sound. Behind the smiles and polite nods, an invisible wall had grown between them, one built on lies so carefully hidden that even the most observant eye might not notice. Words of love had become rehearsed, gestures mechanical, as if each action was being measured against an invisible ledger of deceit. Trust, once freely given, had become a fragile thread, fraying with every secret that surfaced in whispers or unexpected discoveries. Promises, once a language of comfort, now carried a bitter weight. Each vow felt like a test, each reassurance a mask hiding intentions that were anything but pure. It wasn't only the lies that hurt, it was the awareness of how deeply they had been woven into every corner of life, in the smallest gestures and the grandest decisions alike. A dinner shared, a hand held, even a casual conversation, all carried an undertone of calculation, as if every moment was being weighed and stored for some unseen reckoning. The child, once a source of pure joy, became a silent witness to the cracks forming behind closed doors. Every laugh that should have brought warmth now carried the faint echo of tension. The household, which had once been a sanctuary, now hummed with unspoken accusations and silent disappointments. There were glances that lingered too long, smiles that didn't reach the eyes, and touches that felt more like ownership than affection. Slowly, the illusion of harmony began to crumble, revealing a landscape littered with betrayals that had been hidden in plain sight. And yet, awareness brought something more than despair. It sparked a quiet fury, a clarity that cut through confusion and doubt. Each lie uncovered, each betrayal recognized, became a stepping stone toward understanding the full depth of deception. The resentment that had once simmered quietly now began to solidify into something formidable, a presence that could no longer be ignored. In the silence after the latest revelation, the truth finally settled with a weight that could not be denied. Love had been a carefully constructed illusion, and the reckoning it demanded was inevitable. The child's laughter, once a fragile thread of joy in the household, became a target for words that should never touch innocence. Blame was passed like a shadow, as though tiny mistakes carried the weight of generations of resentment. Every misstep, every innocent question was met with harsh criticism, echoing through the walls with a cruelty that left no corner untouched. The home, meant to shelter and nurture, had instead become a crucible where judgment and rejection were passed down like heirlooms, each one sharper than the last. It wasn't just the father's anger that bruised, it was the quiet complicity that followed. The husband, whose promises of love once felt solid, revealed cracks in his character that had been hidden behind practiced smiles. Secrets spilled into small, suffocating ways, showing a pattern of neglect and manipulation that left the child exposed to the full force of disdain. Every story shared in hushed tones, every glance of disapproval added another layer of pressure, an invisible weight pressing down on a life too young to carry it. And yet, within the harshness, something began to awaken. Protection became instinct, a quiet resolve to shield the innocent from the storm. Each insult and every unjust accusation only strengthened the awareness that silence was no longer safe. Small acts of defiance grew into deliberate steps, subtle but purposeful, toward reclaiming agency in a household that had long denied it. The anger that once threatened to consume turned into clarity, mapping a path where boundaries could be set and the cycle of abuse confronted. And the child, caught in the crossfire of adult grievances, became the mirror reflecting the betrayals of trust and the hidden fractures of marriage. Every injustice uncovered revealed not just personal failings, but the dangerous patterns passed down in secrecy and selfishness. There was no room for passive endurance. The world behind the closed doors demanded vigilance, courage, and the quiet plotting of accountability. And as the house grew quieter, with tension simmering just beneath the surface, the realization settled like stone. The protection that had been instinctive would no longer be enough. Something had to change, and it would change on its own terms. Every insult, every calculated slight had a way of burrowing under the skin, settling in a place that refused to be ignored. Humiliation became a quiet companion, following like a shadow, whispering truths that could no longer be denied. The husband's betrayals, hidden behind a facade of affection and calm, revealed themselves in fragments, forgotten promises, secret manipulations, and subtle erasures of effort and love. Each act, small or large, stacked upon the last, and what could have been despair began to harden into something sharper, more deliberate. Tears, once shed in private rooms, no longer felt wasted. They became a currency of strategy, a way to measure the depth of pain and convert it into clarity. The weight of disrespect, once crushing, became fuel, igniting a silent fire that no one could see, but that steadily grew stronger. The home, filled with whispers and judgments, became a training ground where patience and observation honed the understanding of who could be trusted, who could be manipulated, and who would eventually face consequences for their cruelty. Every whispered lie from the husband, every hidden betrayal, fed the quiet calculus of action, shaping a resolve that had no need for loud declarations, only for results. The child, often the unwilling witness, also became a source of determination. Protecting that innocence from the poison of generational criticism required a strength that was learned in silence. Each unfair remark, each moment of blame aimed at someone too young to defend themselves became another reason to plot carefully, to watch, to wait. The fire that grew from pain and shame was not reckless, it was precise, patient, and inevitable. There was an elegance in the transformation. Where humiliation once threatened to destroy, it now built a force that demanded recognition. Where tears had once been a sign of vulnerability, they became a map, showing the exact points where trust had been violated and power misused. Every slight, every hidden betrayal, every unspoken insult planted seeds of a reckoning that no one expected until it arrived. And when the moment came, the quiet storm that had been gathering revealed itself, unstoppable and undeniable. If this story left you breathless, make sure to hit that like button. It helps us bring even more shocking and unforgettable family dramas straight to you. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment or secrets, betrayal, and revenge unfold. Share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were in this story? Thank you for watching, and remember, the truth always has a way of coming out, even when it's buried deep.